nice thing that always happens is the sun is always out when we're recording.
Always.
So we can just be envious of people outside, which, love that.
I actually always love coming to the Swedish Club, driving here.
Oh.
I always love it.
Which way are you coming? Because you must not be frustrated by drivers.
I am frustrated by drivers, but it's just such a nice spot. It's light and shine. Sun is shining by the water. It's just nice.
Yeah.
It is.
Open space.
The view.
The view.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't beat this view.
No.
It's nice.
I
And
think
it's like
you
a
do
high up.
get like desensitized to the view. You forget how beautiful it is. I think
Yes.
Yeah.
only when I take pictures
Yeah.
and send it to people, they're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!" I'm like, "You know what?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
It is nice."
But I think too, every time I go up there in the bar and the restaurant, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, we had huge choir last week. They were absolutely amazing from Finland, 66 guys.
That's right. Yes.
And they were saying in one of their little, talks between the songs that one of the guys, this reminded him of Stockholm.
Wow.
Yeah, it does a little bit.
Yes.
Like how the houses look, or just like
Oh,
the view
just-
itself.
Yeah, the water and then like
Hills up.
Söder, has that.
What is that? What did you just say?
Söder, so that's a part of town. It's called the South, but it's a part of Södermalm, one of the South. Östermalm, Södermalm, Norrmalm.
Stockholm is built
Yeah.
on like
Islands.
Okay.
So that's the South Island of Stockholm.
Awesome.
And that's the Brooklyn of Stockholm, kind of the cool
The
place.
Brooklyn,
Yeah.
the cool,
The cool
young,
that's
vibey.
didn't used to be cool, used to be poor, and now it's cool.
Another reason why Seattle is for the Swedes
Mhm.
that we're learning.
Mhm.
With the summertime comes, a lot of fun holidays, at least in America, or, the outside holidays where we're barbecuing, we're enjoying the vitamin D outside. And I know for Sweden, we're coming on to some fun summertime activities and holidays as well.
We are. In June, we celebrate, here at the Swedish Club, we celebrate Sweden's National Day. It actually takes place on June 6th in Sweden, but
Mhm.
here at the club, we celebrate on Friday, June 7th.
Oh, yes.
And Sweden's National Day is kind of a little unique. Do you remember, Karin, growing up that you celebrated National Day?
No, in fact, I do not remember celebrating because it was not a a holiday back then.
It
What?
wasn't.
That's interesting.
It is.
We went to
And-
school as usual and
Yes.
work, whatever.
Yeah.
That's weird.
No.
Did you do like special coloring pages at school or anything?
We did not do special blue and yellow coloring. I think it was kind of ignored back then.
I
Hmm.
think so too. I think no
A
one
regular
paid
day.
attention to it.
So this is, I would imagine then, like not for any sort of Swedish independence or anything like that?
No, and I think that's part of why a lot of Swedes, I think, don't even know why we celebrate on June 6th. But Sweden is a country who's never, pretty much hasn't been to war for I don't know how many hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
And the date June 6th was actually chosen because that's when our King Gustav Vasa was crowned and became king
Okay.
in
okay.
1523. So it was 500 years ago. Last
Wow.
year it was a big year.
It's actually funny. The only date I remember from my schooling in Sweden, and you learn a lot of years
Mhm.
of kings and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I feel like that date, that king in particular, Vasa ship and all that's like a
Oh, yeah.
major.
He is
Yes. I
He's
think
the OG king.
I think 1523 is a lot of probably a lot of people's PIN code.
Probably. That's good to know. I'm starting
Yeah.
opening people's phones now. Well, that's interesting. So it was for crowning the king. I feel like in America there'd be parades all the time. There'd be something. We wouldn't
Yeah.
have not celebrated that for a
No.
while.
They'd be wearing a crown,
Shirts, yeah, there'd be
fireworks.
Vasa shirts,
Yes.
Vasa hat. Burger King would be insane right now. Could you
Ships
imagine?
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, a funny thing about Burger King, do you know what it's called in Sweden?
No, please tell me.
Big Burger.
Big burger.
'Cause everything is big in America.
That, honestly, that's sad, but makes sense.
Yeah. But so June 6th was called Flag Day to begin with.
Okay.
So it wasn't even National Day. And it was Arthur Hazelius who founded Skansen, which is a huge outdoor museum in the middle of Stockholm. It's amazing.
Ooh, outdoor. That
Oh,
seems
it's
cool.
fantastic. It has animals and rides and old houses that you can go in and food. And a big stage and their concerts, and it's amazing.
Nice.
But he held this celebration at this outdoor museum, Skansen, in the middle of Stockholm. And he did it as a patriotic celebration, and I'm guessing to promote both Skansen and the Nordic Museum. But it took many, many years before it was actually called National Day. And that was not until 1983.
Wow.
And then in 2005, it became a day off, a red day, as we say in Sweden.
So were you guys both still in Sweden then by 2005? Or you guys were here then?
No.
Yeah.
That took a long
crazy.
time.
It did.
So now I guess
Now
if you
they're
live in
doing
Sweden.
coloring. Yeah,
you
now
have
they're
the-
doing the coloring pages.
Now-
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, and also it's one of the few days, one of 6 days that they actually shoot cannons. They shoot 20 salutes, and
Wow.
they do that 6 times a year.
Mm.
And the king's birthday and the crown princess birthday and name days and such, and then on June 6th. So that's a new thing too.
Where does this cannon shooting take place?
I'm assuming from the royal palace.
In Stockholm.
Yeah.
Wait, to
Yeah.
where though? Like where do the cannons get shot into?
To the air?
But I don't think it's actual
It's just like
No.
cannonballs. I think it's sound. I
We
don't
should
think
do research on this, but
my American mind. I'm like, bro, but where are the cannonballs going? This is great. 6 times a year, you gotta dodge.
It's a very dangerous holiday. No, it's gotta be sound.
it's got to be fake.
Yeah.
Well, that's
yeah.
awesome. It went from nothing to complete validation, just
Right?
like that.
Right.
That's awesome.
And I know they have this big field in the middle, and I'm sure they celebrate it everywhere in Sweden, of course. But in Stockholm, they have this big field, Gärdet,
Mm-hmm.
where people go and they have picnics and
That's wonderful. Yeah.
music and yeah.
Oh, they do on National Day?
Yeah.
Do they bring flags? No, that's too much for Swedes.
No, I think they do.
Oh, they do. I thought that
think
was a
they
little bit too
do.
much.
I
Too
think
over
it-
the top.
No,
No.
it's Flag Day. Technically, it's still about the flags.
I think
Flaggans dag.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
changed. I think so. But yeah, and so yes, last year was a big year. Not only was it 500 years ago since Gustav Vasa became king, but it was 50 years since the current king became king. So
Wow,
he
look at
celebrated
that.
his 50th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So at the club, we do what is it that we do? I don't think I was present for the last National Day,
Wow.
unfortunately.
So we have a wonderful meal. It's our
Mhm.
Friday dinner, and it's up, of course, in our restaurant and bar. And then we have some kind of entertainment. I think
Mhm.
this year we're going to have a choir. The Swedish
Ooh,
singers are going to come
yes,
and
nice.
sing the national anthem and some
Mm.
other songs.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful, and we decorate. It looks very.
So I've learned one thing
Yellow and
about
blue.
Swedish. There's usually some drinking involved. I would imagine there's some aquavit happening at this event.
Always.
That's
but
wonderful.
maybe not as definitely, but maybe not as much as, for instance, Midsummer.
Okay.
I think Midsummer is a more.
This is more of a celebratory aquavit.
Yes.
Midsummer for sure. Yeah, I was going to say maybe we have a national day now that we celebrate more than before.
Mhm.
But Midsummer is when Swedes really celebrate, I think. That's when we feel like it's like the height of the year.
Yep.
Midsummer.
That makes sense. I mean, they made a movie just for that holiday.
Oh my
so I would
God.
imagine
I'm
that
still
was the
afraid of that.
holiday.
I'm still afraid to watch that movie.
Please don't watch that movie. As somebody who's seen it, there's no reason for Swedes to watch it. I think it'll.
But I
It'll
think
hurt us
you're right.
deeply.
Yes. But I think you're right. Midsummer is way bigger than the National Day.
So, like in
Yeah.
Sweden, do a lot of the festivities take place outside?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So Midsummer, for example, is it's around June 21st. It varies because it's always on that Friday
Okay.
around the summer solstice. So it could be 21st or 22nd. Sometimes it's been on my birthday, the 23rd.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like Thanksgiving here, where it's always
Mhm.
on, the Thursday.
Yep.
But many people celebrate the whole weekend, and yeah, all of it takes place outdoors, of course, because we love to be outside. And this tradition began even in the Middle Ages, where people were dancing around the midsummer pole. You seen the one where you decorate with flowers
The
and
maypole.
greenery.
Yes, I am familiar.
Maypole, yeah. And according to the historical research I've done, it used to be a magic and mysterious time. Because Sweden used to be all kind of, farmers and that kind of a countryside. And they believed that plants acquired healing powers and could predict the future.
Ooh.
And maybe you've heard about that women or girls used to go out and pick 7 different kinds, but flowers. Mm-hmm. Did you do that, Stina?
I did.
Me too.
Interesting. Was there like a specific kind that you were looking for, or just had to be 7 different?
7 different ones.
And then you put them under your pillow and you would dream about your future husband.
Oh,
that was the story.
Wow.
And I think we also jumped over 7 fences.
You did?
We did.
What was the reasoning for that?
Same
Wow.
thing.
For
We
your
did.
future
There was
husband?
a combination for us. We had to do that and pick 7
Okay, so if you
flowers.
see me climbing fences, don't ask why.
And it has to be on midsummer.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a magical night, and also walking barefoot in the grass would help you stay healthy. And wearing the flowers in your hair is a symbol of rebirth and fertility. So it's like a lot of kind of mythology, I feel like, and the numbers. I mean, it's just very, very old tradition.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
and then what we do, we eat, of course, as every holiday, we eat sill, herring, potatis, potatoes.
Yum.
It's funny, I was talking to my students today about different holidays, and they were reading short stories about different holidays and trying to guess, is it Easter, Christmas, or Midsummer? But it was all the same food. So it was really hard to choose, and it was kind of funny because it's always with the sill and the potatoes. But we also always have a dessert, usually jordgubbstårta, strawberry cake.
Yum.
It's pretty common, right? Stina, is there anything else I forgot about the food for Midsummer?
Not kind of, but you often barbecue, like salmon or meat or something as your main course. Yeah.
Nice.
And then usually, it's cold and rainy, so you just put on an extra jacket or put on an extra sweater and you stay outside anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Every midsummer that I've experienced here in Seattle, it's been raining.
Yeah.
And you play games, the kids and the grown-ups play a lot of games outdoor, like Cube or just dance around.
Ooh, I know that.
You know Cube?
I know that.
Cube is fun.
I've never played, but I've set it up.
It's a Viking game, I think.
Oh, is it?
I think it's very, very old.
It's fun. We should have it here at the club.
I
We don't
will
have
add
any
that to
grassy
the list.
area, but it would be fun.
But you don't have to have grass, do you?
No, you're right.
We could.
We've got a parking lot.
Yeah.
The parking lot?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Coop
plan
tournament.
that.
All right, we're putting it out there.
And then again, the drinking, of course. And
Yeah.
the drinking songs is actually a very unique cultural thing to Sweden and parts of Finland as well. And there's a museum of spirits in Stockholm. And they have collected lists of more than 12,000 drinking songs, if you're interested.
You said 12,000 drinking songs?
Yeah, that's how many there are in the Swedish/Finnish culture, I guess.
That's insane.
That's really insane.
I know.
They said every occasion. We have a song for every drinking occasion.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
I wanna
But
see
then
if
we have more parties coming up in Sweden. After midsummer, we rest a little bit in July. We go on vacation, and then we come back strong in August. Right, Stina?
We do for crayfish parties. But I have to just tell a quick story. When I lived in Belgium, there were some of the Swedish people. They were put on a midsummer party. And these Belgian people were so shocked because it was all traditional. They were having the aquavit and the sitting outside and the singing and dancing around the midsummer pole, which looks like a cross.
Yep.
With
rings
flowers
on
on
it.
it. And these people, they went home, and then afterwards they said it was crazy. These people were drunk and they were singing at the table and then dancing around a cross. They were never going to do that again.
So scary.
Yeah.
that's exactly what I thought to myself when I watched it for the first time. That's insane.
Yeah, when you say it like that, it sounds crazy, but when you're there, it doesn't. It feels
all
very
fun.
wholesome and fun.
And it's usually the whole thing with the maple and the dancing. It's usually like in the middle of the day. The sun is shining. So it's very kind of wholesome.
Yeah.
Even with the...
So this may seem weird because for Christmas, you get your own Christmas tree. Are you expected then as a Swede to have your own maypole, or is it something where there's a big event happening and you go to that midsummer,
Yeah, some people would have a small one at home, but not like getting your Christmas tree.
Yeah.
It's more
I'm imagining
communal
backyards
one.
just full of maypoles.
No, that would be next level to be able to do that. Oh
Yeah.
my god, I can't
I
even do
mean-
the wreath around.
No.
It's very hard.
My mom used to make one, but no, that's not.
Usually you go
Interesting.
somewhere. They would organize it in the
Mhm.
city or like on a
Mhm.
beach or a park, and you will go there.
On the
and-
beach, that's pretty nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. And one of the biggest midsummer poles I've ever seen is the one in St. Edward's Park.
Wow. How big
Here.
is it? Oh, here.
Here, yeah.
I guess we'll have to see that one.
Yeah, it's a really authentic
We'll have to get a picture
midsummer.
of that. Yeah.
Yes.
And do they have it around the same time then?
They
Mm.
always have it, I want to say, last Sunday in June.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll have to talk to them about their accuracy. But
Yes.
we talked briefly. Karin, you had talked briefly about the crayfish, which would be the next upcoming, because July you take a break, even though July is my birthday month, so there's still a holiday in July for you. But the crayfish dinner is after that, and I remember helping plan that last year with Justina, but I don't think we had time to get into the backstory or kind of why we celebrate the crayfish
Yes.
dinner. So maybe you can explain that.
And I don't know exactly why. It's a very old tradition. One of my favorite ones in Sweden. I love crayfish when it cooked.
All about that cray.
All about it. All about it. Crayfish fishing and selling was banned between November and August 7th. So August 8th was the big day when you were allowed to start eating crayfish. And there's even stories about people sitting at one of the most fanciest restaurants in Stockholm, Operakällaren.
Yeah, it's a famous one.
It's very, very fancy and popular. And people would sit at the tables ready with their bibs and their everything. And then a helicopter would come from wherever they flew in from, where they had fished the crayfish, and deliver it to the table.
Oh my god, the drama.
Helicopter?
Yes.
The drama of
The
this.
drama. They start. I think they landed in Kungsträdgården.
Oh my gosh.
The dramatics is fantastic.
Right?
Helicopter. We didn't do any of that. We got to get a drone.
No,
gotta
we
get some-
do.
This year,
Yeah, we
August.
gotta
I'm
get
here
a
now.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Wow.
And it was, and not only could you not fish it, but you could not even sell it. And my grandmother was kind of a rebel a little bit, so she bought crayfish frozen in the when you were allowed, and then she kept it, and we had crayfish
Yeah.
for Christmas.
She's
and we-
smart.
She was smart, but we felt like we were doing something wrong. It was insane.
You
how
were.
strong
You were
that-
breaking the
Were
rules.
there any rules about saving it? You couldn't save it? Because I
I
just
don't know. I was-
Can't do that.
That's
I
women
was
in
a kid.
STEM. Yeah, no, she's smart for that. I love that.
Hilarious.
So, like the fascination, is there something about the scarcity with crayfish? Is that why there's parameters around when you can fish
I
it?
think that's what it was to begin with, but then I don't think they had enough crayfish in Sweden to fish. So
Mhm.
now crayfish is coming, from Louisiana or
Yeah.
China or Spain or Egypt, or there are a lot of countries that we import crayfish from.
Yeah.
So it's not now you can eat it anytime, but it's still a very August, September is kind of the time frame where you eat crayfish, I would say.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, it's only a short time that you can buy them in the store too, right? They run out.
They might run out.
Because I
yeah.
remember one of my first years when I had moved out of my my parents' house in a small town. I lived in Stockholm, and I had a friend of mine living there too. And it was August, and we were not like going back home or anything. So we were like, we have to do something with the crayfish, right?
Mhm.
We're living in a big city, 2 students or whatever. So we went to like the grocery store, and we found like the last sad little frozen package of like 4 crayfish.
Oh my
So we had a
gosh.
small party, and we had a good time, but it was like just like so sad, but also we tried our best. We had our 4 crayfish together
It's
in
not
Stockholm.
a lot of food for crayfish.
No. I was like, if they're the same ones I remember seeing. That's
Yeah.
nuts. Oh my God, you're just toasting it and that's it.
The-
Wow.
and there's a lot of work involved for very little food.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's unfortunate about those type
Yeah.
of sea critters.
Really is. It's
Mm.
more about the tradition than the
It
food, I
is.
think. It's about the getting together again, sitting outdoors
Mhm.
at big tables,
Mhm.
drinking, maybe singing, talking.
And it's very common to have a crayfish party as a potluck. or a knytkalas, as we say in Sweden.
Mhm.
People might bring, someone bring a quiche, someone bring drinks, someone will bring bread or cheese or
Yeah.
dessert, which is very nice.
I feel like that's how most summertime holidays are. They end up turning very potluck-like. That's
Yeah.
what barbecues turn into.
Mhm.
Everybody's bringing a dish to support the main.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very interesting that, like, as you mentioned, it's now imported for Sweden, but just the fact that there is like a seafood boil culture in Louisiana with crawfish, which is very similar to crayfish, how there's still that kind of celebratory thing about this specific type of animal. I think that's very interesting. I don't know where the crossing had happened, but I do find that to be very cool. I specifically remember from our planning trying to get that beautiful sun, the sun decoration. That
Yes.
seemed very important to the dinner as a whole. Like we had to do a special
Yes.
import request for the sun.
Yes, someone bought it in Sweden. You know what I'm talking about, Karin? That
Yeah.
it's not a. It says it's called a lantern in Swedish, I think, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like a paper decoration,
Mhm.
and it's a round, and it's a sunny face, and
Mhm.
and the colors are kind of blue and yellow and red, lots
Mhm.
of red. And you mentioned Louisiana, and it's very important how you boil the crayfish,
Mhm.
and it's really simple. It's really water and a little beer and dill.
Mm.
That's about it. And then you boil the crayfish alive, and then you just drop them in and you boil them
Mhm.
quickly, and then you cool them, and then you serve them in their own kind of broth.
In the broth.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
nice.
good.
This makes me think about that Woody Allen movie Annie Hall. Remember that one when he and Diane Keaton are throwing in big lobsters into the boiling pot and they escape and jump on. I can't even think about this now.
Oh no!
I don't think I've ever done. I think I am not as well versed in this tradition as yours, Stina. I vaguely remember sometimes celebrating this, but I don't think I've ever hosted or done the actual cooking of the crayfish. I think it would be scary for me to do.
And I'm also very much more used to defrosting a package from the store than to boiling them myself. You used to be able to buy them at IKEA, but not anymore.
Man, IKEA.
IKEA needs to step.
IKEA used to be
Food,
that store. More than just furniture. They were that store.
They were. But as much as I love crayfish, I really do not like the next holiday that comes after this. Not holiday, but food-related event. And that is surströmmingsskiva. Surströmming.
I've actually never tried it.
In English?
It is fermented herring.
Okay. Yeah, I'm cool on all of the herring. The regular herring, the salted herring.
So this has a smell that you cannot open the jar inside.
Oh my gosh.
It smells like your sewage broke or something. So there's a tip you can do. You can open the jar underwater in a bucket.
Not underwater.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of work here.
There's a lot of science involved with this. I love.
And it is made kind of it's a technique, I guess, and it's made so that it's just before it gets rotten, not rotten,
nice.
but fermented.
Yeah.
You could have fooled me. It like totally smells and tastes rotten, and very very popular for a small percentage of Swedish people, I would say. It's not widely celebrated.
What holiday is this?
So it's not a holiday. It's more like it happens in September, not a super specific date, I think. But it's more like a food event.
Got it. Okay.
And usually you don't get it in a restaurant because
Who's trying to do
everybody
that?
would leave.
Yeah.
What is that smell?
It's mostly in the northern parts too, right?
Yes,
I feel like
it
North
is.
Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that like a more rural or what's the difference? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
More space to open.
Yes,
Yes.
to open the jar.
And it's actually gained notoriety of being one of the world's smelliest foods, and even more so than that rotten shark they do in Iceland and something else in Japan. I think. That's also,
yeah.
Wow.
But there's if you Google surströmming challenge on YouTube,
Yeah.
you can see how people are trying to
Get through it?
Yes. and people say, I can eat anything. I like all kinds of food, and they're
They can't do it.
gagging. And
So the only thing that my mind jumps to, which is so funny, there's like a prank fart spray, and it smells absolutely horrific. This sounds like a Swedish version that maybe we can tap into.
sure.
If we could bottle up that smell.
Yeah.
Great
They-
invention.
They forbid it at an airline. I don't remember which airline
They had
it
to
was
forbid
now.
it. Some people brought it.
Yes,
Not TSA
no,
approved.
actually several major airlines, because they claim that the pressurized cans of fish were potentially explosive.
Oh.
I don't know if that's a myth, but yeah,
That's the justification for not letting it on the plane. Is Alaska on that? Because
It doesn't say.
that's a way I can ensure that I get a whole road to myself.
It says Air France, British Airways, Finnair, and KLM.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll see.
it is. Yeah. Anyways, I shouldn't talk bad about certain food traditions, but this has a smell. Even if you like it, I think you can agree that it has a very, very strong smell.
Wow.
We don't want it on our planes when we fly in
No.
10 hours to Sweden.
I don't want it anywhere
summer.
near me.
I'm glad they did the forbidden,
Yeah.
the rule about that.
Yeah, that seems very necessary. Very necessary.
And definitely something you, like I said, you eat outside. So,
Yeah,
which is a theme
I-
in Swedish.
I can't imagine being outside in Sweden when this is like the time and you just smell it in the air. You just catch a whiff of that. That's insane.
No, I don't think it's around that much. Like it's
You're making me very scared.
No.
All I'm thinking about, there's an episode of
No.
SpongeBob where his breath stinks and you could see the stench flowing through the air. That's how I
No.
imagine this fish is like.
I have never tasted or smelled surströmming. I have avoided
Okay,
it
good.
growing up in Sweden, so it's possible to.
Okay.
If you go there, you'll be safe.
Living proof.
You'll be fine.
I don't think it's hard to avoid it. No.
I keep looking outside. I know our listeners can't see the outside that I'm seeing, but it's just so lovely. I like walking Seattle. Lower Queen Anne is always very fun for me. There's a couple of bookstores. There's a lot of coffee shops for me to stop and either take pictures of or interact with. The Mercer Street bookstore is one of my favorites. They have a lot of nice little cheap books outside, but a good selection inside. And now that I've worked so much with Karin, I'm noticing more of the Nordic, not that I can read them, but the Nordic, Scandinavian, Swedish options in bookstores, which I think is really fun that I'm even noticing that now. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, I actually came across a book by an author I had read before. Her name is Linda Åkesson McGurk. So she's a Swede who moved to America.
Mhm.
And I read her book a few years back. She wrote a book about parenting her children in America compared to what she had grown up with the outdoor lifestyle in Sweden. And she
Yeah.
was kind of like, not shocked, but maybe like trying to come to terms with the difference, like leaving your kids in a preschool where they don't get that much outdoor time. And that book that she wrote in 2017 was called "There's No Such Thing as Bad Weather," which is a saying in Sweden. Like I said about midsummer.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's raining. You just put on an extra sweater.
Yeah.
And so she wrote this book about the Scandinavian moms' secrets for raising healthy, resilient, and kids. And then I came across her second book recently by coincidence that fits our theme of outdoors. And it's
Mhm.
called The Open Air Life, Discover the Nordic Art of Friluftsliv and Embrace Nature Every Day. It came out in 2022. So I read it now last week. And it takes the same kind of theme about outdoor lifestyle and goes through kind of the benefits to
Mhm.
your mind, your body, your soul, and a
Yeah.
little bit of the history. And she writes about how this term friluftsliv, I don't know if you've heard it before.
Mm-mm.
It kind of means outdoor living, and
Mhm.
it's more than just a parenting strategy or just going hiking. It's more of a, what would you say, Stina? More like I think every
Like a way
Sweet.
of life.
like
Yeah,
last weekend
I
when it
think
was
so.
nice out, I just told my kids we have to go to the park.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if you're too old for the park. We have to go outside. Like we cannot. It just
Sit in
hurts
every
us.
day.
We
Yeah.
cannot physically be inside if
No.
it's like
Not a nice day.
it doesn't have to be hot even. If it's
No.
just not rainy and gray,
We're out.
But I think the point is that in Sweden it doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing or you're outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's because we have a long winter and we really, really like we are spending a lot of time indoor because it gets dark early in the winter.
Mhm.
And we just kind of crave to be outside once it gets like a little bit sunny, because we don't have that many
Yes.
sunny days,
Yeah.
maybe. Or what do you
Yeah.
think? Yeah.
But I think again, you in the winter you ski, or in the
Yeah.
you know, definitely people are more outside in the summer.
I think too,
Yeah.
as you said, the release of her book was in 2022, so I feel like that was such a pointed year as we were transitioning back into,
Yeah.
outside of the
Mhm.
pandemic, having been inside. It's like,
Yeah.
very encouraging to understand you can be outside in a nature connecting way that does not have to always involve masses amount of other people.
Yeah, she actually writes about how she during COVID started to meet up with other families. So she lives in America, and meeting up other families, cooking outdoor, and like
Mhm.
getting a lot of her friends and neighbor families into this kind of outdoor parenting lifestyle due to necessity because of the pandemic. But she was
Yeah.
already doing it before that. But she
Anyway.
does mention that in the book, and she also did like a 1 year long experiment where her whole family had screen-free Sundays
Oh.
to try to do. Oh,
Sorry.
okay, you don't have to do it, but it was an
That's a
experiment.
good idea.
No, I like that
Yeah.
though.
It's
Like-
a good idea.
How
Yeah.
did it go?
She said it was equally good for the parents as for the kids,
Yeah.
because she
I can-
realized how she also needed the break
Oh,
from
man.
the addiction that we
I
all
can
have to our
Yeah.
phones.
Totally
Yeah.
understand that.
And she speaks about JOMO, which is the joy of missing out, instead of FOMO. That it's okay to say no to things, and it's okay to have more like a quiet. She talks about the tradition of the promenade. It's not the same as hiking, but we do a lot of
Like
walks.
A
A stroll. You know how we have
Stroll.
skogspromenad,
Yeah.
kvällspromenad. We have tipspromenad, which is like a quiz walk.
Mhm.
Where we every Swedish party has one of those quiz walks where you
I
put-
love those.
you put up notes with
Mhm.
questions, and then all
It's
the
multiple
people.
choice.
You look so confused now,
No. This just sounds like such a fun party activity. That's what I'm like, oh my
Yes.
gosh.
especially after a few drinks, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a thing.
It is a
That's so
thing,
And
it's a
fun.
super fun thing.
So after
Yeah.
eating or drinking or whatever, you gather around and you go for a little walk, and you have like
Yeah.
questions about random
Mhm.
trivia questions, right? We have trivia here.
That
Could be
no,
outdoors.
This sounds like a
Mhm.
fun idea.
Yeah.
We should do
I
it.
like this. Yes.
We
You
did
kidding
it.
me?
We did a tips promenade at the university a couple of years ago, and we did it in the hallways though. But outdoor
Yeah.
is the best.
It
you
is.
know?
I mean, yeah.
It is.
And then she
Mm.
speaks about how actually walking barefoot is supposedly good for you. I know that is definitely a thing in Sweden growing up. I was barefoot a lot.
Mhm.
And I think it's something that we don't really do in America with our kids here. It's like dangerous to
No.
be barefoot kind of. But
yeah, because America's dangerous. There's glass everywhere.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But don't you think that...
Yeah, I agree. And I
Yeah.
think too, even if you're not barefoot,
Mhm.
you take your shoes off when you go inside.
Yeah.
The way that's not a cultural norm here is
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's dirt everywhere. I'm fine taking my shoes off.
And also it's kind of walk in your shoes all day long.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
in African American culture, there's your outside clothes and your inside
Oh,
clothes. Like
mhm.
you're never on somebody's bed in your outside clothes. Why would that not apply to shoes?
Yeah.
And that is funny you say that, because it used to be even more. Everybody had this little bag where they had their nice shoes, indoor shoes, and you brought those to a party.
What, that makes sense.
You came to the party.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
but,
You do.
right?
Because in the winter, you have a New Year's party. New Year's Eve
Yeah.
is a big thing. You also
Yeah.
have a big party. And it's winter and snow, and you wear
Mhm.
boots when you go there.
Mm.
And then you come there and you have to have your indoor shoes, because maybe you
Yeah.
have a nice dress.
Yeah.
And you don't want to walk around like in socks or
yeah.
whatever.
Let's bring that back.
So many memories of preschool and school in Sweden. You even had your indoor slippers there.
Yes.
Little children. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and in schools, it's even more for younger kids. When you think about how much time they spend on the floor,
Oh my God.
I mean, it makes so much sense to
Yeah,
not come in with your outdoor shoes.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
let's start this.
Okay, we're starting a
Well,
lot of agendas
we're
today. I like
digressing.
that.
Well, lastly, she speaks in her books about something you can relate to, Stina, the outdoor open water swimming. Supposedly very good for you. I
yes.
am not there yet. I'm scared of
You-
the cold,
You-
and I don't think I
you
ever will
should-
be.
Since we're starting so many new things, I'm gonna encourage you to come with me.
I
One of
told
these.
you I'd go one time. 'Cause
Yeah.
you said it's not that long, right?
Oh no! You can no. It's not long.
1
You-
second.
Yeah, you can go in for as long or as short as you want.
I mean, I'm competitive, so I will probably try to be there as long as you, but I also know that I will not be able to last.
And this is something I think that also grew during the pandemic. It was, people did it before, but it really became more popular. And I think the secret, as I understand it, and that's how I do it with my group, is that you walk slowly in. You don't jump in or go run in, or you kind of immerse yourself slowly.
You don't do like the polar, what's it called, polar bear?
The polar plunge. Yeah,
polar
that's the
plunge.
exact opposite of my logic.
I have found out after I started this that polar plunge is for amateurs who only do it once a year.
Wow, call me out. Call this out immediately.
No, I'm kidding. I did
hilarious.
that for many years. But supposedly to get the benefits, you should slowly immerse yourself.
Because you're trying to get your mind to adjust to it, right?
Yeah, and it's something else that is more physiologically.
It seems dangerous, though. It seems like a shock to the system.
No, the doctor said that's what you need.
Yeah, what do I know? But I like it. It's really, really nice.
Anyway, it was a very interesting read. And speaking about, you mentioned a bookstore in your neighborhood. I actually reached out to a few bookstores, and I hope to reach out to more and ask them about what kind of Scandinavian books are selling.
Yeah.
What are Americans reading?
Yeah.
Do you know the answers? Do you want to know?
I do want to know the answers.
So at Island Books on Mercer Island, they mentioned they sell Fredrik Backman.
Oh,
which is one of the books I've been, doing in my book clubs here, my expert classes.
A Man Called Ove is his biggest
That's the one we've been doing,
Yeah.
And there's another one called Bear Town and a few others. And there's also a couple of cute books they sell called Fika, The Art of Coffee Breaks, and Scandinavian from Scratch. That one I've never heard about.
Me neither.
What is that one about?
I don't know. They said it was big during the holiday season. I have to look into that.
Yeah.
Like little gift books about,
Okay.
being Scandinavian.
Yeah.
Oh, is it maybe about making food or?
Oh, maybe.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe it's a cookbook.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to Elliot Bay,
Ooh, yes.
and they said that some of the authors that customers ask for is Joe Nesbo with the Harry Hole series, Per Pettersson, and of course another one that I've been teaching in my classes, Henning Mankell with the Kurt Wallander series.
Mhm.
Do you know about those books?
I
Anna?
do.
Yeah. And then the last place I asked in this round at least was Third Place Books.
Oh, yeah.
And they mentioned Lena Wolf, who's written Polyglot Lovers, Carnality, and The Devil's Grip is a new one by her.
Mm.
And then they mentioned an Icelandic author called John Kalman Stefansson. And this one is actually coming to Seattle in the fall. And is it described by the bookstore as a heavy metal Dickens. I'm excited to try reading some of these books.
What a heavy metal Dickens.
What is that?
That's so descriptive, and I still have no idea, but, I am interested now.
Yeah.
All at local bookstores, which I very much appreciate.
So many good independent bookstores here in Seattle.
Yes.
This is just a few of them.
Yeah. So with your such your extensive list, of different books, I feel like we could get to the point where you have maybe your recommended list similar to Oprah. We get you some stickers.
Oh, of course. I would
mean-
love
Or
to.
Reese.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon.
Exactly. Everybody's got a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got their own book list. We'll get you a book list going.
Oh, thank you. I love it. Maybe listeners can also send in their recommendations.
Please do. I think that'd be so fun.
Right?
Super fun.
Or post on
Yeah.
Instagram or something.
Yeah,
love
tag
to hear
us
what
on
people are reading.
Instagram.
Yeah.
We would love to hear your book recommendations for us.
We're having a lot of fun in the expert classes, both in the online one that I'm doing and Brit's in-person classes,
Mhm.
where the expert levels A, B, and C, we usually do read a book.
Yeah.
And would do like vocabulary and questions and read out loud, and they're very popular, and we have a lot of fun talking about those books because it becomes both the language study and also a little bit of a culture study when you read
Yeah.
about those characters like Ove.
Yeah.
For example, he's such a Swedish, typical older man.
Curmudgeon.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it? Or-
And it's character. So yeah, it's really fun. So yeah, join those classes.
And of course, Ove, A Man Called Ove, has become a very popular movie, both in Sweden and in America.
Oh.
In here in the U.S., it was called A Man Called Odo.
Oh.
With Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
okay,
a
okay,
remake.
okay.
Yeah. There's also a Swedish one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I guess
Yeah.
now I need to actually watch that movie.
Yeah, they were both good. Sometimes the
Yep.
remake is not as good, but I thought they both were good.
Well, Tom
Me
Hanks,
too.
he can sell it.
He can, and he
Yeah.
did. But I think movies in general, we are coming up on Seattle International Film Festival.
I've seen a lot of posters for that. Again, on
Mhm.
my wonderful walk of Lower Queen Anne, there's a movie
There
theater
you
right
go.
there. Yeah.
Yes. And this year, actually, SIF is turning 50. So they're
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're calling themselves the festival this year for SIFty. SIF
We
and
love
50.
a good pun. We love a
Mhm.
good pun.
And opening night is on May 9th, and then it goes on for 10 days, and they have theaters all over town. And they are showing a Swedish movie called Hammarskjöld,
Awesome.
Fight for Peace. So Dag Hammarskjöld was a Swedish diplomat, and he had kind of complex life. He was very, very accomplished as a diplomat, and he worked for the United Nations, and he made enormous efforts to resolve international disputes, and he was very, very highly regarded. But he also had some problematic issues in his private life, and he had some struggles. And the movie is showing on May 10th and May 11th, and Mikael Persbrandt, who I would say is one of our biggest stars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a big name in Swedish cinema and theater, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you can see it then on the 10th and the 11th.
Nice.
And then you can stream it later on.
Ooh.
So, yes.
I want to see that movie. That's a
Yes.
classic character, Hammarskjöld, in
It
the history of
is.
Sweden.
Mhm. And there's other movies you can look online, www.sif.net. There's some Norwegian movies, some Icelandic, Finnish, maybe Danish.
Ooh.
Yeah, so there are lots of great movies. I can highly recommend
That's fantastic.
checking those out.
And we got a Swedish film in there. That's awesome.
We do, and we might even get some tickets. We can not raffle off, but have a little, not a contest, but what do you call it when you
a giveaway.
a drawing,
A drawing. A
drawing,
giveaway. Yeah.
giveaway.
Yeah.
Yes,
There'll be more details about that on our
it
social
will
media
be.
most likely.
Yes,
Well, that's fun for upcoming events. We have so many fun events, and we've already talked about the classes being started, taking place,
Mhm.
which is so awesome.
Yeah.
Summer courses will be registration will be open for that soon. Which summer, as we will share, is more of like a review period.
Will be some review classes, like shorter, like 6 weeks at a time, for
Mhm.
people who are traveling and just want to keep the language going, but they don't want to take like a whole new step in their learning.
Mhm.
But there will also be some Zoom fika on Fridays with conversation, and there will
Awesome.
be both in person and Zoom expert classes where we read books
Nice.
and continue with that.
Nice. Wonderful. I think the Will Ferrell movie may have given some context to Americans, but I don't believe that we understand the magnitude of Eurovision,
no,
honestly.
yeah,
And I
And
don't know how to equate it in a way. Like it's not equivalent to everybody from a state, because we already have, like, Miss America pageants and nobody really cares about that. But there's something about this that is so cool to me
yes,
that makes me mad that I didn't learn about it before the satire that was Will Ferrell's
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But I think it wasn't always this popular. There has been, it was popular, and then I think it was a lull for many years when, it went on, but no one really, people didn't pay as much attention as they do now.
Mhm. What do you think that resurgence was? Do you think it has to
I
do with
don't
like the
know.
internet, or
Maybe there are big events now in Sweden with,
Mhm.
big arenas filled with audience who come and look at it live.
Yeah.
But it is a little funny because I think, isn't Australia part of it now? So
Probably
it's not really Eurovision
anymore. Send an American out there. Who?
Yeah.
Okay. So for Eurovision, if I think about this, who would America send? That's so hard.
Taylor
like-
Swift.
Yeah.
There'd be 50% of the country would agree with you.
Yeah.
The other half would be fighting Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
I gotta say I'm a little more Beyonce than Taylor
Ooh,
Swift.
like the room is split.
Yeah. Oh
my
I'm net neutral on both, but
Yeah.
I like
Neutral like Sweden.
I like the room is split.
Well, Bob Dylan did win the Nobel Prize, so you already got that.
There's a whole generation who probably does not. I know who Bob Dylan is because I had to watch his documentary, but
I think people are going to know, even younger people, because I think Timothy Chalamet is going to play Bob Dylan.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to catch the younger generation there.
That's great casting.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually,
I think so.
That's actually good casting for him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The only criticism I've heard about that is that he's too tall. But they can probably fix that.
Yeah, well, they can fix that easy. Wow, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, this was a fun episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Tack för att ni lyssnar. Tusen tack. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for listening and hope to see you at the club.